So last lesson we looked very briefly at the formal elements of art. This lesson we are going to look at them in more depth, and we will be spending quite a few lessons looking at them in more depth and how they might be used in art. We will be, let me just zoom out, we will be looking at all the elements of art and creating some miniature pieces of art ourselves. Again, looking at them in more depth. Some of the areas, such as a line, they do look a little bit simple. So what we're going to do in today's lesson is have a little look at putting a little bit of colour in some of the backgrounds of the different areas, so that we can make them look a little bit more interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to recap paint techniques. We're just going to look at 3. We're going to look at wash, wet into wet, and blending. It has been quite some time since we have painted, so a recap will do us all good. So we're going to start off with the most basic paint technique, which is wash, a wash of colour. It should be quite pale, and artists use this quite a lot, and they'll draw on top of it, and again it gives the work a little bit more depth, makes it a little bit more interesting. So we're going to be working in this box first, just to have a little bit of practice. So this is how I do it. I'm going to use a small brush, by the way, so that I've got more control. I'm going to wet the paper a little bit. I'll just zoom in so that you can see. Just wetting the paper just a little bit. Now with the tip of my paintbrush, I'm going to pick up just a little bit of colour. I'm going to pop that on in a few areas. Wet my brush again. And just gently, pressing lightly with a paintbrush, I'm going to move that colour about. Just like that. You have to be very careful that you don't use too much water, or you'll start to get like a little puddles of different tones, and we want it to generally be the same tone. So off you go, have a little go at doing a wash.